Guyana's president adamant the readiness of the country's elections body will determine elections date. And in sport, no Andrew Russell or Darren Bravo in the Windy squad for the ODI series against India. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Friday, July 26th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
What happens when a bunch of kids get together?
Wait, no, scratch that. A bunch of crazy kids.
They create characters,
Write stories.
record their voices,
Make theme songs.
throw in some sound effects. And what do you get? Good idea. Where do we get the color from?
Tweet. We can use our own color. Good to do. The bake sale starts in 1 hour. I'm so mad, so sad.
Do you know, I am really appreciative because I know this affects perhaps, hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans and, of course, people from around the area. Because, of course, a lot of New York, New Jersey, and so much of this area intermingle. So this really does affect a large percentage of our viewing audience. So first of all, there's something called the ADA. Could you please explain what the ADA is and how it affects people?
Guyana's President David Granger is insisting that the court cannot instruct when general elections must be held because the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is an independent agency. And he says his administration remains committed to free, fair and credible elections with an acceptable voters list. Granger made the comments as he met with members of the diplomatic community yesterday to clarify recent political developments that he said have been subject to some misinterpretation and misrepresentation of government's intentions. He was adamant that his government has not contravened either the Constitution or the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice, which validated the December 21, 2018 no-confidence vote against the government and ordered elections be held. The president said setting an election date is dependent on GECOM's readiness. He said there are no deadlines or timelines and there is no date for Guyanese to return to the polls.
No other agency or organ of the state has responsibility for elections. Only the Elections Commission. The independence of the Elections Commission is safeguarded by the Constitution. It is insulated from political influence, instruction, and interference. The President cannot influence. The President cannot instruct. The President cannot interfere. The President cannot tell the Election Commission when elections must be held. Neither can the courts.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Parliament has amended legislation that would make smoking 2 ounces or less of marijuana a ticketable offense. Now, under the new law, a person who is in possession of up to 2 ounces of the drug cannot be arrested, jailed, or get a criminal record as a result. The law also makes it legal for people to use the drug in their home or at places of Rastafarian worship. The fine for smoking in public is $500 EC if convicted in a magistrate's court. But if an offender admits to the offense to the police, they would be given a month to pay an $80 EC ticket. But opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday suggested that the legislation did not go far enough. He questioned why the government was being so timid with the law, noting that in Antigua and Barbuda, for example, it is legal for a person to grow up to 4 marijuana plants on private premises. Friday said that to benefit from the new provisions in the St. Vincent legislature, a person would have to commit another offense buying the drug from an illegal trafficker since they can't grow it themselves. The opposition leader contended that if possession of a small quantity of the drug is allowed, so should be growing small quantities for personal use. The Belize government is lodging a strong protest to the Guatemala government following an incident on the disrupted Sarstoon River between the local defense force and the Guatemalan Armed Forces, the GAF. Earlier this week, the GAF tried to impede access to the Sarstoon by a civilian vessel. Ministry of National Security in Belize described the incident as disappointing, especially now that the two countries are heading to the International Court of Justice. And we get more in this Channel 5 News report.
This is a member of the Guatemalan Armed Forces telling Belizean Will Maia and 6 others that Sarsoon Island and river is for Guatemala. He tells Maia that they need to produce documentation to traverse the river.
Why will we have a paper for our own country? No, this belongs to Guatemala. This belongs to Guatemala. Well, as far as we know, this belongs to Belize. But you won't let us go up this river.
Yeah, because it belongs to Guatemala, and you are not allowed to. So I'd like to take you to return. All right. Have a nice day.
The worrying incident unfolding on July 23rd when Maia attempted to escort members of the Sarsoon Tamash Institute for Indigenous Management's team to Black Creek to investigate the illegal logging of timber by Guatemalans. The group of Belizeans approached the forward operating base and requested an escort to proceed into the Sarsoon River. A few minutes up the Sarsoon, 2 Guatemalan gunboats filled with armed Guatemalan soldiers set chase after the Belizeans. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is now lodging a strong protest to the Guatemalan government. CEO in the Ministry of National Security, Felix Enriquez, says the Belizean government describes this latest incident as, quote, very disappointing and demonstrates bad faith at a time when both countries have made significant progress in moving towards a permanent solution to the long-standing unfounded territorial claim on.
And stay with us here. Midday Sport is next. Injury-plagued Andre Russell and Darren Bravo won't be in the West Indies squad for the 3-match one-day international series against India starting next month. Both featured in the just concluded ICC World Cup in England, but had little impact in their limited appearances. From that World Cup squad, speedster Shannon Gabriel and off-spinner Ashley Nurse have also been dropped, along with batsman Sunil Ambrose, who was called up as an injury replacement for Russell. Veteran opener Chris Gayle has been included in the 14-man squad after making an about turn on his retirement. The trio of opener John Campbell, all-rounder Roston Chase, and Seema Kimopol have also been called up. And we go over to Lima, Peru, where action in the 2019 Pan Am Games continued today for some Caribbean nations. Trinidad and Tobago went under to Costa Rica by 2 sets in the women's preliminary round of the beach volleyball. The regional women were outmatched by their Central American counterparts, 21 points to 18 in the first set, and then a close shave, 22-20 in the second set. Costa Rica went away with victory, 43-38, the final score at the end of play. In rugby, TNT's women were crushed by the United States in their preliminary Pool A game. The USA pounded TNT in the first half with a 24-0 drubbing, and then there was no letting up as they added 31 goals while TNT failed to score. USA won the match 55-0, the final score. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Until then, good afternoon.